The Yuba County Five, a night hike gone wrong? Imagine you're out on a hiking trip with your friends, enjoying the serenity of nature, when something goes terribly wrong. What if, after a night of fun and adventure, you and your group went missing, only to be found weeks later with bizarre circumstances surrounding your disappearance? This is the eerie and mysterious case of the Yuba County Five, a group of young men who went on a night hike in 1978 and were never seen again until their bodies turned up weeks later in a remote area with answers as elusive as ever. Was it a tragic accident? Or is there something more sinister lurking in the shadows? In this video, we'll take you through the chilling story of the Yuba County Five, unraveling the mystery of their disappearance, the strange clues they left behind, and the theories that attempt to explain what happened to them. Get ready for a tale that continues to haunt investigators and puzzle those who followed the case for decades. The Yuba County Five, who were they? The story of the Yuba County Five begins with a group of 5 young men from the small town of Yuba City, California. They were all in their late teens and early 20s, with a shared love for the outdoors. The group consisted of 1. Gary Mathias is 25 years old, a former Army soldier who struggled with mental health issues, including schizophrenia. Jack Madruga, 30 years old, a quiet, friendly man who had mild intellectual disabilities and worked at a local grocery store. Theodore Weiher, 32 years old, a mild-mannered man who, like Jack, had intellectual disabilities. William Sterling, 29 years old, another member of the group with mild intellectual disabilities, known for his kindness and sense of humor. Mike Rios, 24 years old, the most outgoing and social of the group, who also had some cognitive challenges. Despite their various mental health and intellectual challenges, the group had a close bond and often spent time together, whether it was playing basketball, hiking, or just hanging out. On the night of February 24th, 1978, they decided to take a trip to nearby Butte County for a basketball game. The fateful night, a basketball game, a road trip, and a disappearance. The Yuba County Five had planned a trip to Chico, California to watch a basketball game between California State University, Chico, and the University of California. The group was excited, and everything seemed normal as they made their way to the game. However, they never made it to the game. Instead, they mysteriously vanished, setting off a chain of events that would baffle investigators for years to come. After the game, the group reportedly became disoriented. A witness later claimed to have seen them driving around Chico late at night, seemingly lost and confused. Instead of heading home, the group made a wrong turn and ended up on a remote mountain road, miles away from their intended destination. At some point, their car, an older, beat-up 1969 Mercury Montego, became stranded on a narrow, winding road. The car was found abandoned, with the keys inside and the windows rolled down. There was no sign of forced entry or foul play, but the men were nowhere to be found. The search begins, a mysterious disappearance. When the Yuba County Five didn't return home, their families grew increasingly worried. The car was discovered on the evening of February 21st, just a day after they had gone missing. Authorities quickly began searching the area, but there were no signs of the men. The mountain roads were treacherous, but it seemed impossible that 5 men could have disappeared without a trace in such a short amount of time. For several weeks, no leads emerged. The search efforts stretched across vast areas of forest and mountainous terrain, but it was as if the men had vanished into thin air. Some speculated that they had gotten lost and succumbed to the cold, while others feared they had fallen victim to something more sinister. The discovery: bodies found in a remote forest. It wasn't until 6 weeks later, on April 4th, 1978, that something chilling happened. A group of hunters stumbled upon a desolate, remote forest area in Plumes National Forest, about 20 miles away from where the car had been abandoned. There, they made a horrifying discovery: the bodies of 4 of the Yuba County Five. The discovery didn't come with answers, only more questions. The bodies were found in different stages of decay, and none of the men were in the same location. They had clearly wandered in different directions. Mathias, the group's leader, was the last to be found. He was discovered in a remote clearing far from the others, and it appeared that he had been trying to find help. His body was found near a locked gate, suggesting that he might have been trying to escape or find civilization. Mike Rios was found in a dilapidated cabin, having somehow managed to survive for weeks in the wilderness. He had no shoes on, which raised questions about how he had managed to travel in such rough conditions without proper footwear. Ted Weiher and Bill Sterling were found nearby in separate locations, both showing signs of malnutrition and exposure to the harsh winter elements. The most disturbing part? Jack Madruga, the group's most intellectually challenged member, was never found, and his body remained missing for many years. It wasn't until much later that his remains were discovered in a separate location, suggesting that he too had been wandering in search of help. The strange circumstances. What happened to the Yuba County Five? Several aspects of the case remain baffling and have led to numerous theories about what happened to the Yuba County Five. The condition of the bodies. Despite the cold temperatures, some of the men had lost weight, indicating that they had been alive for weeks after their car broke down. Mike Rios, in particular, was found in an advanced state of starvation, even though he had been found in the cabin with food and blankets. The lack of footprints. The men were found in remote locations, and yet there was little to no trace of their movements. Some have speculated that they might have been driven to the area by someone else and then left to die in the wilderness. The cabin. Mike Rios had been found in a dilapidated cabin. There were food supplies inside, yet the men never seemed to find this cabin until weeks after their disappearance. It was strange that they wouldn't have sought shelter sooner, and even stranger that they hadn't used the food to survive longer. Theories. Was it a tragic accident or something more sinister? The mystery surrounding the Yuba County Five has led to many theories. The mental health angle. Mathias suffered from schizophrenia, and there's speculation that his mental state could have led the group into a dangerous situation. Perhaps they got lost in the wilderness, and his confusion and disorientation led them further off course. Accidental deaths. One theory is that the group became lost, wandered aimlessly for weeks, and succumbed to the cold and starvation. This theory would explain the malnutrition and disarray of their bodies, but it doesn't account for the cabin or the lack of footprints. Foul play or a kidnapping. Some believe that the group might have been the victims of foul play, perhaps abducted by someone who then left them in the wilderness to die. The locked gate, the food supplies in the cabin, and the odd distribution of their bodies raise questions about whether they were deliberately placed in the locations where they were found. Theories of drug use. There is also speculation that some members of the group might have been involved in drug use, which could have led to erratic behavior. Mathias, in particular, had a history of drug use, and some believe that this might have played a role in the group's disappearance. Conclusion: a mystery that still haunts us. The Yuba County Five case remains one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in American history. Despite years of investigation, there are still no clear answers about what happened that fateful night. Was it a tragic accident? Or was there something darker at play? Whatever the truth may be, the disappearance of these 5 young men has left an indelible mark on both the families who loved them and the countless others who continue to ponder the mystery. Their story remains a haunting reminder of the dangers that lurk in the wild and how easily a simple night hike can spiral into a nightmare.